Alright, welcome to this week's New York City crime and fire news update. Today is Monday, May 17th, 2021, and I know a lot of news is going to be overshadowed today with the COVID restrictions getting lifted by Wednesday. I know that's a big news story, and I get that, we're trying to end the past 14-month nightmare that we've been dealing with, but we have to worry about another nightmare regarding the crime, and we're going to get into that, but there is fire department activity today. In fact, we have 2 reported incidents in Ozone Park this afternoon that we're going to get into. But first, let's get into this story, because I literally didn't even see this on any of the TV stations last week. This happened last Thursday. So it happened in Coney Island. So this was a power plant in Coney Island, 2-alarm fire that happened. So let's read this article from the Brooklyn paper, because it was on AM New York's website. The roof of a Coney Island power plant went up in flames on Thursday morning, sending dozens of firefighters rushing to the scene as plumes of black smoke filled the morning sky. The inferno broke out of a 2-story housing a steam power plant at 2701 West 6th Street. 100 fire FDNY smoke eaters were battling the 2-alarm blaze by 9:17 a.m. on May 13th. Onlookers watched in awe as the thick black fumes rose high into the sky, becoming visible from miles away. So, I guess I'll just use this as my thumbnail this week, because why not? So, let me go down here. So this was between Shore Parkway and Neptune Avenue for over an hour, and the FDNY confirmed that this fire was under control at 10:28 a.m. No injuries were reported, thank goodness. Well, that's good news at least. So it says authorities said the blaze was mostly localized to the building's roof rather than inside the structure. The fire marshal will investigate the cause of the fire, and we still do not know what caused it. So this afternoon we're getting updates from the Firewire. In fact, Firewire is a little bit off in regards to another incident in the Ozone Park area. So we have 2 fires this afternoon in Ozone Park. One is electrical and another is in a dwelling, from what I'm making out this afternoon. So let's go to my Twitter account. We're going to check the Citizen app reports. So first incident from Citizen app, we have a report of an electrical fire at 116-04 103rd Avenue in the Ozone Park section of Queens. So this is an area that's in the southern part of the borough, not too far from Howard Beach, of course, if you are a little bit familiar with Queens geography, I guess. So we do have videos coming in from the Citizen app. Multiple units are responding to this electrical fire in Ozone Park. So we're just going to take a look and see. We have 3 videos of the incident, and we're going to listen into an FDNY call if it will load up. So again, I know this is a crooked video, but you can see here that we do have FDNY activity again in the Ozone Park section of Queens this afternoon. So there you go. Brief video right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to listen into the FDNY Queens feed. We're going to get that. So it's from the same person. So I guess we'll just listen in from the radio report.
Please follow on box 6035116-103 Avenue. 116th Street, 117th Street, an electrical fire in the private dwelling. Please follow on box 6035116-04 103 Avenue. 116th Street, 117th Street, electrical fire in the private dwelling. 12365,
So as you just heard, that was the address that was given on the FDNY Queens feed. It is a fire in a private residence. We don't know the situation with this fire at the moment, but I'll try to keep an eye on it if I can. We also have another fire in Ozone Park this afternoon. Firewire did confirm this. This is at 94-15 109th Avenue. So Ozone Park today is very active. 2 fires in one neighborhood. I mean, how many ladders are literally in the southern part of Queens? Maybe you have one unit that comes from Ozone Park or something, and another from Howard Beach. So, we do have a couple FDNY radio calls that we will listen to in just a sec. It is a house fire, but again, we don't want to confirm. From what we're making out, this does appear to be near Woodhaven Boulevard. Let's just confirm on the map. Okay, this is the area near Woodhaven Boulevard. Okay. So this is probably a residential house, probably around the corner. Not too far from where the... from what I'm making out, this is probably the J line over here. Yeah, right around here. I'm not too sure, because again, I haven't been in Southern Queens in about 2 or 3 years. So... what we're going to do right now is listen into some FDNY radio calls.
Queens 285. 285 is in the box for house on fire. Queens phone number box 2003, address 94-15108 Avenue. For house fire.
106 response 1.
6 response 1.
The location changed to 9419 108 Avenue, 9419 108 Avenue between Cross Bay Boulevard and 95th Street.
Okay.
They now state the house is on fire. Arrival live, arrive on 84. Responding units must use the stairs. Notify Central when entering the stairwell and when 84 at the affected floor. Extra.
So as you just heard from the 106 precinct who covers the Ozone Park area, they said the original 911 call for this house fire was wrong. Let's just confirm if this is correct. Again, this is 94-15, but we do have a confirmed house fire. So again, we're going to have to keep an eye on this very closely, and hopefully next week there might be an update. I'll see if I can keep you all posted. Anyhow, let's just check to see what else has been going on today. We have a fire through the roof that happened near a building on Highland Boulevard, Staten Island earlier this morning. The address was 144 Commodore Drive. Again, not too far from where Highland Boulevard is, according to the map. All hands were called. So, wow, this is serious. Probably all units from Staten Island had to be called in. And then I'll just go to these last two incidents. Fire at a Chinese restaurant at 479 Ralph Avenue last night. And then there was another fire in a dwelling at 165 Bradford Street near Brownsville. So, you know how active the fire wire tries to be, of course. That's pretty much it. We're going to move on to our crime now because I don't really want to make the fire update too long. But anyhow, I want to bring up a couple important news stories. And I actually have a news story from the 107 that I'm going to bring up that happened a couple of nights ago. And I just want to confirm it because I told somebody else about this story. This is what I was looking for in Glen Oaks. So, here we go. More victims robbed on Union Turnpike in Glen Oaks. Police report from the 105 precinct during the week of May 3rd. Multiple victims were robbed on Union Turnpike between Little Neck Parkway and 260th Street in Glen Oaks. All incidents were reported between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. The latest incident was reported on 258th Street. One of the victims slated the suspect approached from behind and robbed. The suspect is male, light-skinned, wearing a mask and hood. So, very scary what's going on in the Glen Oaks area. You know, you would think that, again, this is an area that normally is safe, and very scary thought that that we have to even think about. Oh, and then there was a fire in Queens Village. Look at this. 98-17 217 Lane in Queens Village. Private dwelling with 2.5 stories. The fire was reported in the attic. So I didn't even see anything on the Queens Courier about this. Okay, let's continue. So anyhow, let's get to some auto accidents that have been reported. I mean, that's kind of fire-related. Police close off the Jackie Robinson Parkway westbound at Metropolitan Avenue, reporting a motorcyclist involved in a collision. Motorcyclist is in likely condition. So, there's that one. And then you have this incident that happened in Floral Park. Vehicle flipped over 80th Avenue and 261st Street. And, shockingly enough, this was right by PS 115. And I used to go to this school for a year. So very shocking that this happened. Multi-vehicle accident. One auto flipped. So, there was a vehicle that was upright, and a witness reported one driver that didn't stop at the stop sign and got hit, causing the flip. So, you're not going to hear this on New York 1. You won't. And another accident on the LIE. How many auto accidents have been happening in the past week? I'll just mention, my dad was going to New Hyde Park last week, and he got stuck on the Northern State because there was an accident in Old Westbury by IU Willits. So, there was a vehicle that was flipped upside down by the Maurice Avenue next to the Maspeth. And then, let's just see if we got anything else here. Another accident today. Right in Hicksville. So, I'm not going to get into that one. But I bet News 12 won't even cover that one. But let's see. Oh, and then here's a sad one regarding the FDNY. There will be heavy FDNY personnel in the Floral Park neighborhood because of a firefighter named Tommy Oakwins, who was a first responder at the 9/11 site and passed away from his related cancer. The procession is from Sloan Kettering in Manhattan to Dalton Funeral House. So they are expecting heavy delays on the Cross Island Parkway. So probably units from the 105 are probably going to give an escort, knowing that area. Okay, so we're going to go to an exclusive story that I have, and I need to get into this. Here we go. Armed robbery reported at the Rite Aid in Flushing. Police are investigating after a armed robbery was reported at the Rite Aid located at 158-02 Union Turnpike on Thursday, May 13th. Shortly after 9 p.m., units from the 107 precincts responded to a call regarding an armed robbery at the Rite Aid. Upon arriving, eyewitnesses claim that the male suspect, who appears to be Hispanic, was last seen across the street at the Citgo gas station. No other details regarding how much money was stolen, any merchandise was taken from the store. Police are still investigating this incident. So again, you're not going to hear this anywhere else but from me because again, I have my intel and I'm not going to say where I get it from. So let's move on to other stuff from Queens because Queens has just been so active lately in terms of crime. So let's look at this. This was a Queens road rage incident that's been widely reported. So we're going to watch the video right here. And as you can see, guy in the yellow jacket clearly seen punching someone right here. And I'm sorry that, this had to be vulgar, but at least, So it says a driver punched another motorist and passenger, then ripped off their cell phones during a road rage incident last weekend. So this happened on Saturday, May. Let's just confirm when this article was posted. Yeah, it happened last weekend. So it happened on Saturday, May 8th. The 23-year-old victim was driving a night Nissan Sentra out of a parking lot on 70th Street near Northern Boulevard, Jackson Heights around 7 p.m. that evening, when a 55-year-old man in the passenger seat when he struck a gray Honda Accord. The two men got out of the Nissan, and the male driver of the Honda stepped out with his female passenger, demanding payment for the damage to his car. Surveillance footage released early Tuesday shows the Honda driver wearing a lime green hoodie, punching one of the men in the face, knocking him to the ground, and then slugging the other. So you can see how graphic this is. That somebody's just literally laying down on the floor. The suspect stole Samsung cell phones from each victim and a wallet from the older man, which held an ID and bank cards. Both victims refused medical attention. The suspect and the woman who got back at him in the Honda drove off. They are still on the loose as we are speaking. So, there you go. Crime in Queens. At least Channel 7 covered this. I'll give them credit. So we have a lot to get into in Queens. Let's start off with this one. Queens man indicted on hate crime charge for allegedly attacking Asian woman at Flushing Bakery. A man was indicted by a Queens County grand jury on hate crime and other charges on Monday, May 10th for allegedly attacking an Asian woman outside of a Flushing Bakery, according to Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz. Patrick Mateo was awaiting arraignment in Queens Supreme Court on indictment charging him with aggravated harassment in the second degree, assault in the third degree, and harassment in the second degree. If convicted, Mateo faces up to 1 year in prison. On February 16th, Mateo and a 52-year-old Chinese woman were in a line at a bakery on Roosevelt Avenue when he began to argue with the woman, according to Queens DA Melinda Katz. Then, without provocation, Mateo cursed at the 52-year-old woman and punched her in the face. Mateo then allegedly entered the bakery, grabbing a cardboard box, ran back outside, and threw the box at the woman before forcibly shoving her backward onto the ground and into a metal newsstand box. The attack left a long gash across the woman's face forehead that required 10 stitches to close. Mateo was apprehended and arrested by police less than 2 days after the incident. Following his arrest, the investigation continued, and on March 31st, a court-authorized search warrant was executed for data on the defendant's cell phone, which revealed anti-Asian sentiment. So, of course, we know the situation with the anti-Asian crimes going up lately, but, you know, this happened in February. You know, why didn't this get reported when it first happened? You know, maybe I don't remember reporting it, but yeah, look at this. The Queens Courier even covered it. Wow. Because I know the New York Post had the video on their website. So I was like, you know what? Go with the New York Post. So, anyhow, let's get into these last two. Because we'll get to the 105 story. We'll get to that. Believe me, we won't. But I want to get into this because, you know, I'm just shocked at how the media is slacking up on a lot of these stories. You know, to think that there was a shooting at the Rite Aid on Parsons Boulevard the other day. Nobody reports that. And yet, these are the stories just, you know, seem to get ignored. But look at this. Cops seek crook who allegedly stole $32,000 worth of jewelry from a store in Flushing. This happened at the New World Mall on Main Street by Roosevelt Avenue. According to police, a man broke the front glass of Lafrock Jewelry at 136-20 Roosevelt Avenue at 3:30 p.m. on March 26th. The man then removed about $32,000 worth of jewelry from the display. He then ran into 40-04 Bonet Street and then fled the scene on a bike heading southbound on Bonet Street. Okay, so we have a description of the suspect, so we'll play the video right now. The man was last seen wearing a blue baseball cap, a dark colored jacket, beige pants, black sneakers, and dark backpack. And by the way, the suspect was not wearing a mask in that video, so he's likely going to end up getting caught. But again, this should have been first made us aware back in late March, early April. But no, that's what happens when you try to hide stuff from us. Okay, so if you know the whereabouts of the suspect, call the Crime Stoppers, 800-577-TIPS, 8477. In Espanol, 888-577-7472, which is Pista. Public can also submit their tips onto the Crime Stoppers website at nypdcrimestoppers.com or on Twitter at nypdtips. So, I mean, this guy's easily going to get caught. You know, I mean, look at him. You know, you're not wearing a mask. That's dumb criminals one-on-one. You think they'd take advantage of the COVID situation, but they don't. Alright, so last story from the Queens Courier. I promise you this is the last one. And then we're going to move on to subway crime because that's a big story right now. Cops seek 2 suspects in attempted Richmond Hill robbery. Police are searching for 2 suspects who tried to rob a man while armed in Richmond Hill. According to authorities, a 56-year-old man left his car with the key in the ignition while parked in the intersection of 110th Street and 107th Avenue at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, May 8th. When he returned to his car, 2 unidentified men tried to go into the vehicle while wielding a gun and stating that they were going to shoot him. The victim then entered his car and the 2 men fled on foot to an unknown area without removing any property. Thankfully, no injuries were reported, so we do have a surveillance video. Okay, here's the video. By the way, unrelated, but I hate the new New York license plate. I mean, I had to see it 2 weeks ago, and it's just ugly to even look at. And my dad even has it too, so. The unidentified individuals is described as being about 17 to 22 years old. One of the men was last seen wearing a blue bubble jacket, hoodie, and black pants with black sneakers, while another was last seen wearing a black hoodie and sweats, white sneakers, and a blue face mask. Okay, let's move on to subway crime, because this is a serious situation. So we'll get to the bozo later on. I should have had this properly organized. By the way, quick teaser. I'm going to be uploading a completion video of the president of Passengers United, Charlton D'Souza, recently talking about homeless and subway crime. He's been featured on the news since Friday, and I want you all to take a look at it because Passengers United is trying to do more events later on this summer in terms of subway patrol. We are actively recruiting, so anybody wants to step up, you know where to find us. But anyhow, let's get into this. 4 teens cuffed for series of slashings at 4 train stations in Manhattan. So obviously, this happened during the Friday morning commute. So it says, Dermot Chase said that all males between the ages of 17 and 19 were picked up at the 79th Street station on the 1 line after a quick, extensive investigation that included the use of security cameras which captured images of the perps. So, here's the first incident reported at the Union Square station at 4:25 in the morning. Just as subway service was resuming, pre-May 17th, because now we're back to 24/7 service, one of the suspects slashed the victim in the face while the other stood nearby and encouraged the attack. The pair then fled on a southbound 4 train. That victim was taken to Bellevue Hospital and was later pronounced in stable condition. Later on, the suspects went to the Astor Place station. The suspects approached 2 men, 40 and 41. One suspect slashed a 40-year-old man in the face and punched the 41-year-old man while the other stood by. The assailants then fled the scene on a southbound 4 train. Both victims were taken to Bellevue Hospital in stable condition. 2 more incidents at 4:37 a.m. The suspects got off at the Brooklyn Bridge subway station, and 1 man slashed a 44-year-old man in the back of the head while the other stood by. The suspects once again fled on the southbound 4 train. The victim was taken to downtown hospital in stable condition. Finally, the 4th incident at the 59th Street Columbus Circle station. A 48-year-old man reported the attack upon moments later at the 161st Street Yankee Stadium station. So, that is the good news that the victim thankfully did get medical help, because apparently the last victim was stabbed in the eye. So, there you go. So, trust me, it's just very upsetting that this is happening. Oh, and then look at this. Assault at the Atlantic Avenue Barclays Center station reported on May 5th in broad daylight. 12:30 p.m. a 42-year-old man was standing on the BQ platform and talking on a cell phone. An unknown man came down the stairs. The suspect approached the victim from behind and punching him in the face, leading to a physical altercation between the two. So this is what I was afraid of. I knew there were going to be scraps underground. The suspect ultimately fled the subway system towards the 4-5 lines. The victim suffered a laceration over his left eye and laceration to his right cheek. Was taken by EMS to a local hospital. There you go. Here's the suspect. And trust me, I've been to Atlantic Avenue and Barclays, and you'll see these crazy people down there. Trust me. Yep. Oh! So they actually have a video of the incident. Wow. Folks, you just cannot make this stuff up. I mean, very scary to even think that this is happening underground. But it is. And then today, you have DeBozo announcing that 250 officers are being added to the system because the tall mayor claims, oh, we have new recruits now. So yeah, just, you know, I don't even want to read any more into this, but you get the idea. And then we'll watch this video. And then we'll get into this. A lot more subway crime, trust me. Just awful. And there's so much crime I can cover, but it would just literally make the video longer. I want to get to the shooting that happened at the McDonald's in the Bronx over the weekend, because that's a big deal. That is a big deal. Okay, that has to be talked about. Let's see. Oh, New York One actually covered it. Look at that. Okay, here we go. So we'll get back to the subway stuff in just a second, but this is... Oh, are you kidding me? Not even a long article. Not even a long article. Does the Post have it at least? No, let's just go to NBC New York. Here we go. And by the way, FNTV covered this, so they were on the scene in the Bronx as this was happening. So anyhow, this is the, this was the McDonald's in the Bronx over the weekend, so we'll read it. Police are investigating a shooting in the Bronx Saturday night that injured 4 people and left a 17-year-old boy dead. The shooting happened outside of a McDonald's on Webster Avenue around 9 p.m. in the Claremont section of the Bronx that took place on Saturday, May 15th. Responding officers found the 17-year-old unresponsive at the scene of the shooting with a gunshot wound in his chest. Police later identified the young victim as Armandus Valdez of the Bronx. The 4 other victims, 3 men and a woman believed to be the ages of 24 and 31, had already left the scene by the time police had arrived. Police said the victims walked to a nearby hospital, each with a leg wound. Police have not released an official motive, but believe the argument broke out before the gunfire. They are still searching for the suspect or suspects responsible, but no information has been released. So, I mean, again, this was a big deal. I mean, Channel 4 did a good job covering it over the weekend, so I had to bring it up. Alright, so before we get back, again, I do want to get to the last subway stories, but we have to get into this. We have a hit and run that was reported on the FDR Drive last week, so let's read this. A man is in custody with a suspected DWI after he struck a pedestrian with his car in Kips Bay on May 11th. At 10:16 p.m., officers responded to a 911 call regarding a man struck by a vehicle at 30 Waterside Plaza. Upon their arrival, police found a 29-year-old man laying on the roadway unconscious and unresponsive. A preliminary investigation found the victim was attempting to cross the service road in the incident location when he was hit by a black Honda Accord that fled northbound onto the FDR Drive. EMS rushed the victim to Bellevue Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. His identity is being withheld pending family notification. 10:37 p.m., police received another call regarding a vehicle collision on the northbound FDR Drive near 53rd Street. Upon their arrival, officers found 23-year-old Jonathan Sutherland with minor injuries in a black 2007 Honda Accord. So look at this. It says here, officers determined that this was the same car involved in a deadly hit and run at Waterside Plaza. And they found a suspect they took a suspect into custody under the suspicion of a DWI and transported to Weill Cornell Medical Center. So it says here, so what's the suspect's name again? Just want to confirm here. Jonathan Sutherland. Okay, here we go. So it says the suspect was charged with manslaughter, vehicular manslaughter, assault, criminal negligent homicide, leaving the scene of an accident, and refusing to take a breathalyzer test. So the collision squad will investigate the incident. And then we have to get back to subway crime. So we have two more stories I need to read to you. So we have an unhinged man who threatened an MTA worker in Queens. So here we go. It was a normal day getting off work for train conductor Kevin Rivera, who was riding the 7 train home from Main Street at 1:20 in the morning. He was approached by a rider who spit at him, brandished a razor blade, and chased him off the train into token roof at the Willets Point station, where he proceeded to make threats against transit workers. So, the mentally unhinged man said, "This is my house, this is my car." So we have a video of it. I don't want to play the audio. Yep, so we have a bunch of videos about this. Wow, just scary. So at least it's going to take a minute and a half to review all these videos. So let's just zoom out. Let's see here. Here's the Verts video. Yep. And he's trying to get over the turnstile. Ugh. And then here's another video. And look as he's trying to mask up and trying to hide himself. And of course, he's smoking, which is prohibited on MTA property. So here's the last video. And this is a Flushing Main Street. You know how scary this is? One of our main subway terminals in Queens, and this guy is harassing an MTA worker. Was that a tattoo on his eyebrow? Ah. Oh. Yep. Welcome to Dumb Criminals 2021, folks. And again, I had to mute the audio because we don't know what the suspect could be saying. And second, I don't want to get a DMCA claim. Alright, so here we go. Last incident, and then we will wrap this video up. Suspect crook rips cash out of man's pocket at MetroCard machine on the Lower East Side. Police need the public's help in finding the latest subway criminal, a thief who attacked and stole cash from a 75-year-old man at the Lower East Side subway station. Law enforcement sources said the victim was attempting to make a purchase at a MetroCard machine inside the mezzanine of the Grand Street station on the BD line at 1 p.m. on May 8th when the suspect made his move for money. According to authorities, the crook reached into the victim's pants pocket and attempted to grab the wad of cash. Having noticed the attempt, the victim then grabbed the perp's hand in an attempt to stop him. Seconds later, the suspect swiftly yanked out $450 in cash out of the man's pants pocket. The crook then fled the scene in an unknown direction. Officers from the 5th Precinct and the Transit Bureau responded to the incident. The victim reported minor leg pain but refused medical attention. On May 11th, the NYPD released video footage of the crook fleeing out of the Grand Street station. He is shown wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt, dark-colored pants, and white sneakers. So we do have a video. Let's just play it for a sec. There you go. More subway crime. So that's going to wrap it up. I know there's a lot that we have to get into, but I can't cover everything in one video. That would just be, ooh. I covered the necessary stuff, folks, and we'll be back next week with another update. So thank you all for watching, and until the next one, please take care.